Hello, hello, welcome back to the channel. All right, you guys, you knew it was coming. Today is my everything I read in the month of August update. Honestly, you guys, and tell me what you think about this. For the few of you who watch these videos and enjoy them, I love you. Reading has obviously, it's been probably in my top 3 hobbies my whole life since I was a little girl, but it has probably in the last 2 years taken over as my #1 hobby. I would have said like 2 years ago my #1 hobby was board gaming, but without a shadow of a doubt, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that has changed back to reading. So I was thinking about starting my own bookstagram. Is that too much? Do I have too many accounts? Just tell me to relax if it's too many. But then I can like be updating you guys more throughout the month. Anyway, I read 38 books in August. 38 books in a novella. I don't know how I did it. I'm not even gonna explain it. You guys just know I read really fast. I don't sleep a lot. Whatever. I read a lot of really good books in August I'm excited to talk to you guys about. I read some books that are just like brain candy filler, whatever, some books that are brain candy that I love. And yeah, let's just talk about it. Actually, I think I read 39 books because I think Goodreads doesn't track when you do a reread of something. I don't know, you guys. I know that's way more than a book a day. I don't know how to explain it. I am so excited that this is the first thing I did in August because this is probably the series of books that I'm most excited to talk about. And that is, well, it's a bunch of different series, but basically all of the books by Lark Taylor. So if you guys watched the July book update, then you'll know that I read the Caffeine Daydream series by Lark Taylor in July on a whim, a recommendation. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know about this whole larger world of paranormal romance series by Lark Taylor. Caffeine Daydreams is their one non-paranormal series, but she's mostly known for paranormal male-male romance. And anyway, I liked the Caffeine Daydream series a lot, and I remember like earmarking after like getting through the rest of my July TBR that I wanted to read the rest of her books. Now I happened to read them in the right order based on nothing but vibes. Like I just happened to start at the right place, but this is the order in which you should read them. You can read Caffeine Daydreams anywhere. They're mentioned in the paranormal books, but they're not like a part of them necessarily. In fact, I would probably read Caffeine Daydreams somewhere in the middle of them. But as far as all of her paranormal ones, first I read, as you should, the Reckless Dam series, starting with Devil's Mark, followed by Devil May Care, then Deal with the Devil, and Luck of the Devil. Now, these are interconnected standalones, but I will say they are absolutely best enjoyed when read back to back, all 4 of them. They do tell a larger story. Each one has its own little like mini story and mini drama and mini romance, obviously, but there is a larger story at play that if you just happen to read the last one first, you would feel like you were missing a lot of context. It wouldn't be impossible to read, but I highly recommend reading them in order. That being said, I think pretty much all of their books for me got 5 stars. I'm an easy 5-star girl. If I like something and it gives me the right romance juju vibes, then I'm into it. And I do happen to really like paranormal stuff, but I just really love these. Of the Reckless Damned, I would say my favorite was probably either Devil May Care or Deal with the Devil. One of those two. And then after you read those 4, you need to read the Damned Connection series, which is Patience, Justice, Temperance, and Humility. Oh, I gave Temperance 4 stars. Oh, you know why? There's a lot of kink in Temperance that it's not really my thing. Still really liked it though, honestly, and I know that she's planning on writing a kink-based series that I'm 100% gonna read. So it's like, you know, but the best one, without question, oh man, that's hard though actually, isn't it? No, the best one in that 4 little part series was Patience. But I also personally really liked Justice. The thing about the Damned Connection series is that once again, they're interconnected standalones. These ones you could definitely more easily read on their own without having the context of the previous series. But like I just said, they're way more enjoyable if you read them after you read the 4 of the Reckless Damned. That's kind of how it's gonna go for all of the books in this reading order. Like, could you pick up one of these books and read it on its own? Sure. Should you? No. So then I read those 4. Then I read, at the time, this is early August, there was only 2 books in the next series, which is going to follow a bunch of angels that she introduces throughout these books. So that series is going to be called The Hopeless Blessed. And at the time, only Conflicted and Devoted was available. So I read those 2, 5 stars. Conflicted being my favorite of those 2. She's also concurrently working on an offshoot series called The Wild Edges, which follows a wolf shifter clan that she introduces in the previous series. So far, there's only 1 book available in that series, and that is Finlay, which, I gave 4 stars. I'm not a big shifter person in general. But yeah, very, very good. There's also a published collection of short stories called Damned Collections Volume 1, 5 stars. That's only enjoyable if you've read all the other books. Since I went on that massive reading spree, and by the way, I read all of those books, that's 10, 11, 12 books in the first week of August, okay? I flew through them, and I'm actually thinking I'm gonna, not like soon, I have a bunch of books on my TBR that I'm trying to get through, but after I finish my current TBR, I'm gonna reread them all. Like, because I flew through them and I want to reread them maybe a little slower and really enjoy them. Since then, later in the month of August, third Hopeless Blessed book came out, which I have to scroll up, but I did read. Guarded. So good. Just absolutely obsessed. Lark Taylor, easily one of my new favorite authors of the year. Like, goes in my upper echelon of favorite indie queer authors. Just incredible stuff. Like, I'm so excited to reread it. Okay, then I read Covenant, which is a book that Lark co-wrote with Cora Rose. I'm not a big Cora Rose fan, so this one was okay. Not as good as her own standalone, like, books that she's written by herself. Okay, then I have had this on my list for a while, but I've been kind of like putting it off. I don't know why. I don't know. Basically, I read all of the books by the author named J.J. Moulder. The reason that I had been putting them off is that they technically, according to their descriptions, had everything that I usually look for. I love a hockey romance. I love like an athlete, a sports book, I guess. But I had heard via reading reviews and some posts on the romance subreddit that I frequent that JJ has a hard time wrapping it up and that the epilogues are really unsatisfying. And I hate that. I hate being so invested in the story and then you don't get like a satisfying payoff at the end. Like, it just ends with their first kiss or it ends with them saying I love you. It's like, okay, then what happened? Like, I want to know. But that being said, they are highly recommended. So I ended up reading the Offside series and the SCU hockey series. Now, I went on the JJ Moulder's website and they recommend a specific reading order that's like combines these two series. So I read them in this order: Changing the Game, Square to the Puck, Between the Pipes, Shots on the Net, Save the Game, and then back to Offsides for From Coast to Coast, then On the Edge, and then One Touch Pass. I think I gave all of them 5 stars except the first one. I find that's often the case. I usually don't like the first book in a series. I feel like it's often just like, it's like too world buildy for me. And I usually have a better time once we're in the series. But everything else got 5 stars. I didn't have a problem with the way they were ending their books. Some of them were a little more abrupt than I'm used to for a romance novel, but there was nothing that felt like incomplete, if that makes any sense. So I actually really enjoyed this series a lot. It didn't like blow me away the way that like Lark Taylor's books blew me away, but it's also pretty fucking good. And I really liked it. Okay, then I read a series of standalone novels, not part of a series. I read a bunch of them actually. So first I read Time to Shine by Rachel Reed. Rachel Reed, the author of I don't even remember what it's called, the Game Changer series maybe? With Heated Rivalry, which is one of my all-time favorite romance books ever. This one was great, 5 stars. She's just like, I would say she is the queen. Rachel Reed is the queen of queer hockey romance. Like, obviously it's a massive genre. There are tons of authors who write it. I haven't written anything. I've read so many gay hockey books that you cannot convince me that there are straight players in the NHL, but Rachel Reed is the queen. So this book was incredible. I didn't read this next, but I might as well just, 3 books later, I also read The Shots You Take, which is, you guessed it, another Rachel Reed hockey romance. Incredible, 5 stars. Those 2 were not available on Kindle Unlimited. Everything I read is usually available on Kindle Unlimited. Those 2 were from Libby, hence why they were read kind of randomly. Also from Libby, I read Glitterland by Alexis Hall. Okay, I gave this 5 stars because it did give me the feelings, but I'm thinking about it now, I probably would give it 4 stars. I think that Alexis Hall is such a unique writer. I usually enjoy the books they write. They have a very specific and unique tone of voice that is different, not generic, makes you think, more poetic, I would say, than most of the authors I read. The problem I have with Glitterland, and I read the like special edition, like anniversary edition, so there were a lot of annotations by the author in it, which I kind of liked. And there was an extra epilogue, which really saved it, because if it had the ending that it originally had, I would not have liked it as much. But also, one of their characters, and I don't know a lot about the nuances of an English accent, but obviously Alexis Hall is from the UK, so most of their characters are British, and one of the characters had like kind of like a what I picture as the Love Island accent, so like you guys watch the UK Love Island, the people who are like overly spray tanned. And they're like, thank you so much, I love you, blah, blah, blah. Like they talk like they got marbles in their mouth with a British accent. One of the characters talked like that, and it was written phonetically like that, which was nice because I was able to picture it in my head as someone that doesn't have a British accent and doesn't necessarily know the nuances of like regional dialect. But also it was so fucking annoying. It's an annoying accent to read. So I don't know, I gave it 5 stars. It must have made me feel 5-starry at the end, okay? So I can't take that away from it, but I do remember being annoyed by it more than anything else, like looking back a couple weeks later. So, you know, take that how you will. Okay, then I read Maybe We Can Fake It. This was a Kindle Unlimited suggestion by Tammy Subia. 5 stars. It gave me the feelings, fake relationship. I was like gripped. I liked it. Didn't blow me away. Didn't feel like I needed to look this author up and read any more of their books. But I liked this one. I thought it was good. Then every once in a while I like to sprinkle in a Tal Bauer book. Tal Bauer is another one of those authors that's like in the upper echelon, like one of my favorite queer writers of all time. Why do I keep saying written? I've read a lot of his books, but I haven't read all of them. They're kind of intense and a lot of them are really long. A lot of the ones I have read are some of my favorite books of all time. Hush, which is the one I read this month. Incredible. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite books of all time, but it's as incredible as I expected it to be. I really want to read Whisper next, but like I said, the books are intense, like emotionally intense. They're also more political thriller-y than they are romance, so I have to be in a very specific mood to enjoy them, at least the ones that I have coming up for him on my TBR. He doesn't always write political thriller, but those are the next couple I have on my list. So I just read Hush. I'm going to read Whisper, if not this month, then probably next month. But 5 stars, incredible. Tal Bauer has never missed from what I've read from him. Okay, then this was a random Reddit recommendation, Lights, Camera, Passion by Isabel Lucero. I loved it so much. I gave it 5 stars about 2 actors who fell in love on set. I loved it so much I looked up the author and I read another one of her books, Splintered. At this point I was just biding my time because I knew a book that I really wanted to read was about to come out. So I was like, yeah, I liked Lights, Camera, Passion. I'll read another one. I read Splintered. I loved it. It kind of had a very similar vibe as a Tal Bauer book that I like called How to Say I Do. Similar plot line, but different author, so not as good, but still 5 stars. And then out came the book that I was waiting for, which was The Unlikely Spare, the 3rd book in the Unlikely Dilemma series by Calder. Incredible author. I love this series. The Unlikely Pair, the book that came right before it, one of my favorite books, one of a 6-star read from this year. So I was very much looking forward to this release. I like had it written down on my calendar. I was ready to go, and I flew through it in a day as per usual, and I loved it. Just as good as The Unlikely Pair. The first book in the series, The Unlikely Heir, is still the worst one, but this one is really good. I would have to reread The Unlikely Pair to tell you if it was better. I don't think so. In my head, it's the second best, but it's still really good. I was very happy. I've been waiting for a long time for it to come out, and it did not disappoint me. Then I was kind of biding my time until the 3rd Hopeless Blessed from Lark Taylor book came out, so I was like, I need to find like a series to read quickly. So I ended up reading the Mobsters and Billionaires series by Kelly Fox. Now, Mafia romance is a popular subgenre that I have not explored. This was an interesting first foray into it. I could see myself potentially picking up a Mafia romance book in the future. I really liked this series. I would say this series was like pure brain candy, and I don't know, maybe it's just the author, Kelly Fox, it's just how she writes. Like, it took 0 brain cells to get through this series, if that makes any sense. But I still really liked it. The books are called Extradition, Protection, Attraction, and Distraction. My favorite, probably Distraction. Yeah. Definitely Distraction. They were also really short, so these ones clearly didn't take me that long to get through. In fact, they didn't take me long enough to get through. I needed to read one more book while I was waiting for Guarded to come out. So I read Beautifully Unexpected by Lily Morton. Lily Morton is often recommended on the subreddit, another author that I hadn't discovered yet. I don't think this was the right book to start with for her. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was okay. I think I've now read a couple other things from Lily Morton we'll get into in a second, but her style of writing, it was very much like dependent on like snarky banter, which I love. Another UK-based author, but I feel like of all the UK-based authors that I've read, of which there have been a lot lately, and again, I'm not British, so I could have a totally wrong read on this, but from my perspective, that she seems to have like the best grasp of like really dry, mean, sarcastic British humor, which I do love. Beautifully Unexpected, again, I don't think this is the right book to start with. I gave it 4 stars, so I still liked it. Then finally, like I already talked about, Guarded, the 3rd book in the Angel series, Hopeless Blessed by Lark Taylor, came out. 5 stars. Can't wait to reread it eventually. After that came out, I decided I wanted to give Lily Morton another chance because she is so highly recommended, and I feel like maybe I did start with the wrong book, so I basically decided I was going to start reading her books in her publication order instead. So I went back and read her first series she ever published, which is the Mixed Messages series, which includes Rule Breaker, Deal Maker, and Risk Taker, and then a novella called Vow Maker, which is basically an extended epilogue of the first book, Rule Breaker. 5 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars. The last one, the third one, was a Step Brothers book. I don't know how I keep accidentally reading these fucking Step Brother books, but it's a trope I really don't like. Even if it's like whatever, like in this case, the Step Brothers didn't become Step Brothers till they were 15, and then their parents divorced when they were 18, so they were like really barely Step Brothers, and then they didn't even get together until they were in their like 30s. But I just don't like it. I don't like that that's how they met. I don't like it. It's not my thing. And yet somehow I keep fucking reading them. But Rule Breaker and Deal Maker in particular are really good. And not only do I think Lily Morton has a great grasp of like great, witty, dry, sarcastic banter, which I enjoy reading, but also what she does really well that I really love is she creates fantastic tension. I think a part of the tension that she creates is that she creates these characters who feel like they themselves feel unworthy of love for one reason or another, and I was starting to get a little tired of that by the third book. Like, okay, you're unworthy of love, but get over it, you know? But the first 2 books, I didn't have that feeling quite yet. And so like them not getting together, or them getting together and then breaking up because of whatever reason, felt very real to me. Like the third act breakups were really, really intense emotionally, and I love being taken on a roller coaster. Love it. I love being taken on a roller coaster, and she did that really well. So I am going to read the next series. I actually just started the next one last night. The Finding Home series, the first book being Oz, but it is now September. September has just started. So that's it. That's all I read in August. Obviously, the highlight of August was discovering Lark Taylor's writing, like her Paranormal series. Those are my favorite books, with my all-time favorite of all of them that I read. Oh my god, that's so hard. I genuinely can't pick one. It's either going to be Patience, Justice, or Conflicted. One of those 3. But damn, that's hard. That would be the highlight for me for August. I read a lot of books. Another highlight would be The Unlikely Spare. But yeah, those are my highlights. There's really no low points for me in August. I think I did a pretty good job with my choices in August. Anyway, I've been talking for a long time. My voice hurts and I still have another video to film. So, let me know what you guys think. If you guys are watching this, then you guys are my favorite. Don't tell anybody else. I love when you guys are interested in my book content because it is some of my favorite to make. So like I had said, I was thinking about making like a Rambles Reads book Instagram. You tell me if you think that's too much. I'm really back and forth on it right now, but goddamn, do I read a lot of books, so it might be worth it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. I love you oh so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow if you're a Patreon member, and Monday if you are not.